fidget with it either.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, thank you for coming. We kind of met mutually through Andrew, who the last time he was on the podcast, he introduced me to the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yes, he did.
He did. It was funny. So, and he said that you have a really amazing story. So I'm just going to let you tell it, and I'm going to jump in with nosy questions here and there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, interrupt me whenever.
I will.
Every time I tell a story, everyone's always like, bombard me. Well, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, I'll try not to be annoying.
No, ask away, because sometimes, like, when someone asks a question, it just reminds me of, like, oh, something else that happened during the event, because there's so much that goes on that I've told the story maybe like a million times.
Yeah.
And I start to, like, kind of lean it down to just, like, the bare bones, because it takes, like, an hour for me to explain everything.
Yeah, people will ask, like, something critical, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, that is important. And they're like, how did you get skipped that? It's like, do you know what I've gone through and how much like, do you want it all? Like, this is a series. So you had a very traumatic critical injury or accident, from what I understand. Okay, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, so this was, so it was just about 3.5 years ago. So it was like a typical Friday. I bought a brand new motorcycle, and I don't typically ride on Fridays. At the time, I was a motorcycle instructor, and then I was just looking into, like, statistics of motorcycles, and they say on Fridays the most accidents happen. I didn't really know why. My belief was, like, the weekend's right around the corner. People are, preparing for the weekend. Maybe, like, they're a little high because they're like, oh, we're off on work.
Yeah, sure.
Smoke up before we drive home. Some people are drinking before they even start their weekend. So for me, I always tell students, like, if you're going to ride your motorcycle to work, Friday is the day you skip. If you're going to go ride in the evening, do it, but don't ride home, because you're putting yourself in rush hour and people are, like, in a rush to get home.
Maybe that is that angst. It's like a long work week. People just want to start cutting corners, not maybe literally or figuratively.
Yeah, funny enough, I told my sister that, and she works for CA as an insurance adjuster, and she looked at statistics as well. She's like, you're right. Friday is, like, the most accidents happen.
Wow. Okay.
So
Fridays are bad for motorcycles. Monday mornings are bad for heart attacks. So we're scheduling our work week around that. Do it Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah. So my story was I got a brand new motorcycle. I had it for 1 week. And for me, I was like, it's a brand new motorcycle. I've been riding prior to that, the accident, like 3 years. Done this so many times. Let's ride on the Friday. Whatever. What's the worst that could happen? And that was the day that I got into the accident. So on my way home from work, I was heading west on the 401, and there's an accident around the Allen. So I was like, okay, there's an accident. I was on the phone with my girlfriend then, now fiance, and I was just telling her, I'm like, oh crap, there's an accident on Allen. There's gonna be a lot of traffic. So eventually get to the traffic, slow down. So the accident happened right around Avenue and Young, somewhere around there. But yeah, traffic slowed down. I stopped, and then I think every motorcycle does this. As soon as they stop, they look back to make sure the person behind them stopped, especially on the highway.
Sure.
I look back, and the lady, she's not trying to let people cut in, so she's, like, tailgating me. I kind of look back at her. I'm like, hey, what the hell? Like, can you, give me some space? And then I guess she just ignored it. And then as I looked forward, I hear a crash behind me. But in my head, it was so loud that I thought it was like a couple cars behind me, but I didn't realize it was right directly behind me. So what happened was there was an SUV. It was a black Kia. He hits into the car behind me, and then the report said he hit her at 100 kilometers an hour, and then she had the brakes applied, so then she slid into me at like 60 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
The car hit me, my motorcycle went flying, I went flying, I landed. And I remember during this time, I was on the phone with my fiance, and I was like, oh crap, I just got rear-ended, called the police. And then after that, it was like getting like shoved in the back. So I don't know if like you remember as a kid, you guys kind of joke around and like your friend was shoving you in the back really hard.
Yeah.
You'd have that whiplash. I had that feeling, but I was on the ground. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then like it was very painful. I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? And I was rolling. And when I was younger, I worked on cars with my dad at a shop. So I'm very familiar with the underside of a car. So I was getting hit. I was rolling around. And as I look up, I see the exhaust, I see the suspension, and then I see the tire. And I'm like, oh, shit, call an ambulance. I'm getting run over. And then she was like, what? I'm like, call an ambulance. I'm getting run over.
You're like practically live streaming this to your girlfriend at the time. Like she's hearing the play-by-play. Is wow.
Yeah. Even for her, she was like, yeah, like she knows what it sounds like when I'm riding. But then she was like, something odd happened because she's like, I've never heard this sound before. And it was like just like all this like rattling and rumbling.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, call an ambulance. I'm getting run
And you're
over.
conscious at this point.
Yeah.
And then I presume you lost consciousness.
No. So that's what makes my story crazy because I remember everything until the doctor says, all right, yeah, it's time to put him under.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was getting run over and then she's like, okay, she hangs up. And then I guess she calls an operator, gives them my number. Operator calls me. And they're just kind of going through things. And as a motorcycle instructor, I did a lot of research because I was very curious of what to do because I ride with my best friend, my brother, and some like new friends. I was like, if something happens, one of us has to know what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this YouTube channel. His name's called Dan the Fireman.
Okay.
And he just goes through like every scenario. He reviews people's crashes, like, oh, this is what you should do, and this and that.
That's very neat.
And for me, I'm like, okay, I always watch because I'm like, crap, if something happens to my brother, my best friend, like, I want to know what to do instead of just stand there and panic. And I think for the most part, that's why I stayed calm because I was like, okay, this happened. Time to start doing the checks. The first one was consciousness, breathing, internal bleeding, external bleeding. So consciousness, I'm like, okay, you just recall what happened. It was a Friday, riding home on the motorcycle. I got run over, and then something you could do to help with the consciousness and the breathing at the same time is you just talk out loud. So I was talking out loud, and then something else is the cognitive skill. So if you got knocked out and you just woke up and you're kind of dazed.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just doing the alphabets, forwards, backwards, counting to 10, counting backwards. And as I was doing that, like there was a little bit of gurgling, and that was like how you check internal bleeding.
Yeah.
I was talking, all here like, I was like, that's not good.
I mean, you're talking so calmly about it, but it also sounded like you were really calm.
Yes.
To some extent during it.
There's a funny story. So a part of this whole thing, for me, like how I cope with things is just humor.
Okay, good.
So so I do this check first. Let me get through the check. I did the breathing stuff, and so breathing was fine because when you're talking, if you could talk, you could breathe. Mm-hmm. Cognitive and consciousness was fine because I was able to recall what happened. And then after was just internal and external bleeding. External bleeding is like you just pat around, look at your glove, and see if there's any wetness. If there's blood, and you're externally bleeding. Internally is you try to hork up a loogie or you cough. Okay. I already knew something was going on, so I was like, like when I'm talking, I kind of feel like there's phlegm in my throat. Oh. Okay. And so I was just like, okay, spat on the helmet, and right away on the visor, like all I saw was red. Okay. I was like, oh crap. I know how bad internal bleeding was, but I didn't know to the extent of like how short of time you have until like things really go wrong. Oh wow. So I was doing all the check, and all of a sudden I get a call. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, cool. Press the button on my helmet, and it picks up the call.
So you're lying down at this?
Yeah, I was laying down
on your back?
On my belly. Okay. I was facing towards traffic, like this, pretty much. Yeah. If I could.
Okay, I'm glad we can laugh a lot about this now.
I don't know, honestly, at funny parts, laugh away because like I try to tell it with some humor because it kind of breaks the tension.
Yeah, because everyone's kind of watching like it's like this is a scary movie.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, we don't want to laugh because it's not funny. We're kind of afraid right
same
now.
Thing. Like I'm so calm because I was like I know what to do. So I was like, okay, this is what I.
Yeah, you watched this movie. You already watched it a few times.
So the operator calls me. Pick up the operator, and she's like, "Hey, is this so and so?" I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh, we heard that you're involved in an accident." Yeah. And I was just really calm, and she was like, okay, and she was just kind of like, okay, what's your name, number?
You should have been screaming because maybe they would move faster or know that it's serious because they probably thought like, oh, he just scraped his knee.
She was like, are you the pedestrian or bystander? Right? I'm like, oh, no, I'm the guy that got hit and run over. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like,
who would lie about that?
And she was, I guess because I was so calm and I was telling her, and she was like, okay. And I guess she was just same thing. She was like, "Oh, did you hit your head? Are you internally?" I told her everything. I'm like, "Okay, I got run over." At that time, I was checking around, so like my arm was like this, and I went to go touch it because it hurt a lot, and then like there was a huge bump on my arm, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And I was like, "That feels like an elbow, but that's like my forearm." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, it's broken." Told her, yep.
So you're triaging yourself with you're just keeping the operator calm.
Yeah, and she was just like, And as I was telling her, she was like starting to panic, and she's like, "Okay, well, don't panic." And she started to like breathe heavy, and I'm like, "Oh God,
talking to herself.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
She's like,
Don't say that out loud.
She's panicking. I'm like,
So paramedics got there. How long did it take?
I was super lucky. Like I feel like part of my survival was one just physical health, and then just luck. Maybe like 7 cars down, there was an off-duty officer. Comes out, blocks traffic, and to me, I'm like, thank God, because when I got run over, I kept thinking to myself, I cannot stand getting run over again because that hurts so bad. I don't think anyone
can imagine.
The first time.
Yeah. Okay, so someone's blocking, and then how long after did the ambulance come?
About 7 minutes.
Yeah, not bad.
Because I guess because the off-duty officer was there. Because I think if me calling, I don't know if you ever tried calling 911 now. It takes like I actually witnessed a motorcycle accident right in front of my face. Called 911. It took 12 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for you, it was faster
because the off-duty cop knew exactly who to call and be like, "We need something now."
Yeah.
I was lucky.
They put urgency into it. Okay, so what happened next?
At this point, the operators, okay, we'll send an ambulance and fire truck on the way. And I was like, okay, sure. And then she was talking, my brother calls me, and my helmet. Luckily, if you don't pick up a call, it automatically picks up the phone for you.
Yeah.
It's a safety, feature.
Yeah. Okay.
My brother calls me, and he's like, Sandra called me, told me that you're in an accident. And I was like, yeah. And I kind of explained to him the situation, and he was like panicking. And I was kind of telling him like, yeah, like I got run over, I'm on the floor. And he's like, are you okay? Can you breathe? This, that, whatever. And I was like, yeah, everything seems fine. And in my head, I'm a big believer now, especially that your thoughts and your belief in something really determines the outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember laying there going, fuck, I don't want to go to work on Monday. Thinking that I have to go to work on Monday.
I gotta go like this.
Yeah, I was like, man, my back is killing me. I don't want to go to work. I think because of that mindset was what really pushed me through.
The mindset of hating your job?
Yeah, too. Just like the mindset of like thinking I'm not going to die.
Yeah, it wasn't a question. Like you didn't think, like at this point, you're probably like, I'm gonna like get home so late today.
Yeah. Yeah, even that. I had a shift the next day for the motorcycle instructing. I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to go in tomorrow. I feel like crap.
Someone can cover me, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll go if I have to.
Yeah, I was like, if they have no one, I guess I have to. Like they're in a wheelchair going, all right, next student.
Yeah, gee.
So, yeah, I was just laying there, and eventually the operator calls me back. My brother, I told him, like, don't call me back if it hangs up because the helmet did its thing. And then operator calls me back and then starts talking to me and I guess trying to keep me calm until police and ambulance arrive. And then out of something that bothered me was that I didn't hear, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because when like someone caused an accident, they come out and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whatever. No one said that, but a bystander came out and I heard him say, hey, if you're not going to help and you're the one that caused the accident, he's like, get off the road.
Yeah.
You're the reason why it happened, and if you're not going to be helpful and you're not going to look at that, because they were arguing who's at fault.
Yeah,
right
they went
away.
into protective mechanism.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh my God, forget the accident. Are you okay? You're hurt.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, why did you rear-end me? It's like, no,
look what you
why
did.
Stepped on the yeah. And the bystander, his name was Rob, and it was a very nice way that how I found him after.
Yeah.
He's a retired veteran, but eventually, I'll get to that point, I guess. Remember, it was Rob and a guy.
Okay, we'll get back to Rob.
But I was just waiting there on the floor, and then eventually I hear the sirens. And I remember at the time, like, it was extremely hard for me to breathe. But for me, I'm a very shallow breather. And so for me, like, I'm used to shallow breathing. So I was, like, just, like, lightly breathing. I'm like, okay, as long as I don't breathe too deep, I'm okay. But that's how I would normally breathe anyway, so perfect. I was just laying there, and I was kind of, like, I didn't even think about death, which is kind of weird. I just kept thinking of, like, I have to go to work on Monday, and then I have to teach tomorrow, and just all the crappy things as everyone has to do. And then finally, someone comes by, and he starts patting me. He's like, hey, buddy, we're so-and-so. I forgot his name, but it was the paramedic. And then he was like, are you okay? Did you pass out? Any pain anywhere? And I just told him, like, everything. I triaged myself. I'm like, okay, I have broken arms. I think my ankle's broken. That hurts too. Internally bleeding. I don't know if I'm externally bleeding. I remember when Rob came, or Robert, I asked him like, hey, can you like cut my clothes to see if I'm bleeding, or pat around to see if it's wet anywhere. He didn't have scissors. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have to wait for the paramedics because I don't see anything. Paramedics come, and then they cut my pants to check for bleeding. And then I remember jokingly telling him, hey, is my ass cheek showing? And then he was like, oh, don't worry, like, we'll cover you up. We're just checking for bleeding. I'm like, no, like we could make some money. And I guess he didn't understand the joke because he's like, this guy's on the floor dying and he's making
They probably
jokes.
think you have a head injury.
Yeah.
Something's triggering his humor.
Yeah, and I was just like, no, we can make some money. He didn't get it. And he was like, oh, just focus on your breathing. Yeah, we're just doing our thing. And
just focus on the accident.
Yeah.
Work on your stand-up later.
And then, so I guess he checks. Nothing's bleeding. And he eventually, they're like, all right, we're going to have to turn him over. And I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, something I forgot was at the time when my arm was broken, Rob was there. And I told him, hey, can you, like, straighten out my arm, like, to my side? Because I knew, like, the adrenaline's pumping. It's not going to hurt now. It's going to hurt later once it wears off.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey, can you, like, straighten my arm to my side? And he's like, it's broken. I'm like, you got to do it now. It's going to hurt like crazy later. So he's like, are you sure? And as he's talking, it was the worst feeling ever. But once the paramedics rolled me over, that was even worse.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, thank God, because if they had to do that, then
it combined with the flipping. Oh, wow. Okay, so you're feeling the pain though.
Yes.
That's clear, but somehow you're like still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still conscious.
Personality wise.
Yeah. So they roll me over. I could feel them like taking off the helmet, and I was kind of like guiding them, like, no, like you gotta, like it's looped in. I'm like, you gotta pull this emergency, like on motorcycle helmets. A lot of people don't know this, but there's like emergency latches. You just pull it, all the foam comes out. You could take off the helmet without taking off the latch.
I see. Okay. Good
and so I was like, no, you gotta pull, and they're like, no, and they just cut it. And I was like, oh crap. I was like, sucks.
It's fine. It's fine.
But then they get off the helmet, and then they roll me over, put on a neck brace. I remember once they put me in the ambulance, I remember every bump in the road. I'm like, ow, 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 as they're pushing me. They're not so gentle when they put you in the ambulance. They just slam me in there. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Prop me up, get me on the ambulance. And then I look over at the paramedic. I'm like, did we make any money? I guess at that point he breaks character. And he was like,
just really trying to flex.
He was like, I guess he kind of laughed. He was like, nah, they're being cheap.
Yeah. I think they're worried about other things right now.
Yeah. And he's like, don't worry, just focus on your breathing. You'll be fine. And I was like, okay. And then, I remember it was like a movie, in every single movie with a hospital scene when you're on the gurney, when they're pushing you, or the stretcher, when they're pushing you through, you can see the ceiling tiles. Mm-hmm. I remember going through the hospital, I seeing all the ceiling tiles, and then sometimes seeing like drawings on them. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, this is exactly like a movie.
Glad you're entertained through the process. Yeah. At least you're entertaining yourself.
Yeah, and I was just like looking around, and
so is this like your personality, like outside of like serious accidents? Like,
oh yeah,
it's just this is your baseline, anyways.
I think I used to be very like introverted.
Yeah.
And it was like you'd really have to work to get me to talk. But now like I find that like when you put yourself out there and you're kind of like more sociable, you get to meet more people that are helpful in the future.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good thing to.
And with me, it's like I found that humor is something that people always relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like I always try to make jokes and like try to make people laugh. And like once like you make someone laugh, they're like, oh crap, this guy's hilarious. He's a good guy to have around.
Yeah.
And I found that like the more people I made laugh, the more people kind of like was like, oh yeah, I like that guy.
It's a good. It's a nice trait for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably throwing people off when they're like, this guy's a little bit too mellow or too like giggly about being like critically injured.
I'm pretty sure the person thought I was high on the bike.
Yeah. Or I'm thinking head injury. They're like,
oh yeah,
never seen this one before. So it gets worse.
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
So I guess once we get to the operating room, I remember at that point I think they were starting to strip all the clothes off me, and they're assessing the damage. And I remember them moving me from the stretcher to the operating table, I guess. And then I remember the doctor kind of just looking around saying, oh, this is broken, that's broken, flailed chest. At the time, I didn't really know what that was too much. And then he was just kind of assessing everything, and he's like, okay, breathing's kind of this. And I remember him saying, like, yeah, he has to be intubated and this and that, and then he has to be put under. And then I guess someone asked him, like, oh, should we start putting him under? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, man. Puts me under. fall asleep. And then I guess I wake up about a week and a half later.
Okay, so I guess you're going to tell us what happened during that time.
Oh, yeah. For me, like, I just remember everything. And Andrew said, he's like, you should write a book about this.
Yeah, you
It's
should.
a crazy story. And to me, I'm like, I don't really know anyone that kind of publishes stuff. And I'm like, I've been writing about it, but I kind of just keep it on my laptop.
Well, you'll find a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. He said that too.
That won't be a problem.
This was the first step. He was like, yeah, like, get on the channel, get on the podcast, talk about it. Someone might be like, okay, we'll write about your story.
Yeah.
So, I remember I woke up, and then the first thing I did was I ran my tongue across my teeth, and there was like so much plaque. I'm like, whoa, I've been out for a while. Because
It's just like how like the things you pick on.
Yeah.
Like the things you pick out. Like you just woke up after just like 10 days or so.
yeah, it's like,
Oh man, I gotta floss.
I was like, ran her across. I'm like, ooh, gross.
Hope no one came too close.
Yeah, and for me, like, I have a lot of BO as well,
Oh, that's
and so I'm like,
TMI, but
that
okay.
was one, that was two. I'm like, whew, yeah.
Okay, so you're doing your own new triage.
Yeah.
It's like post-op.
I remember it's like, so I do remember the nurses' voices prior to me waking up fully. I think it's like their protocol. They come in, it's like, hey, good morning, my name is so-and-so, I'm your nurse today. And then they do their checks. They're like, all right, wiggle your toes if you feel this. And then I guess they squeeze your toes, and then they try to scratch and try to, like, I don't know, maybe make you, like, see if you're ticklish, see if you have any, like, response.
Yeah.
And they come to your arm, and like they squeeze your hand, like squeeze back if you could feel my hand, and they come along your body. But my sister told me there was one nurse, her name was Sherry, and like her voice rings in my head because that was the one face I didn't see because she was my nurse for, I think, their maximum 3 days, and they switch. I remember her voice as I was trying to wake up. I never saw her face, and eventually it switched to a different nurse. And then same thing, that's when the nurse that I remember waking up to, her name was Mary Ann. And at first, so for me, like, I think anyone that's into fitness and health, they always want to know what they're consuming. So this lady, one day, she just comes in, she's like, hello, my name's Mary Ann, blah, blah, she does her thing. And so she starts injecting me with things, like, so there's like a bunch of tubes, and she injects it into the tubes. And then my sister and my mom were in the hospital, and like, they were there every single day until they moved me into like general recovery and then rehab and everything. So my sister was like, like, he doesn't like when he doesn't know what he's consuming. So, whenever you put stuff into the tubes, just say it so that he knows.
Sure.
And then she kind of gave my sister attitude. She's like, he's unconscious. He's not going to know, whatever. And she, I guess they're arguing back and forth. And then my sister's like, like, that's not how my brother's going to recover. Like, if he is awake and he hears, it's going to spike his, like, blood or heart rate because he doesn't know what you're giving him.
Yeah. You're irritating him.
Yeah, like, again, for me, like, same thing. Like, every time I consume something, I always look at the label. My mom's like, just eat it. Why are you being so picky? I'm like, you don't know what's in here.
Your sense of humor doesn't apply to nutrition, apparently.
Yeah. But then I guess the nurse had a change of heart the next day.
Yeah.
Because my sister's sitting there with my mom waiting, and then the nurse comes in. Hello, Eggertson, my name is Mary Ann. I'm your nurse today. And she does her checks, and then she's like, okay, we're going to be giving so-and-so. This is for your nutrients because you need to be consuming something. You can't just not eat for however long.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, and we're also switching over to this, I think it was like a sedative or whatever. I forgot what it was, but she was just like giving me like painkillers. Oh yeah, it was painkillers. Yeah, she's like, all right, we're switching over to this painkiller and we're going to inject this much, whatever. And then my sister's like, thank you. And she's like, like, yeah, I understand. And then I guess she changed.
So did you hear this, or this your sister told you after the fact?
She told me after the fact, but I remember on the last day that Marianne was my nurse, that was the day I woke up.
Okay.
And so actually I remember waking up to her, and she's like, oh, look who's awake. Well, time for feeding. We're going to give you this and this much milligrams and whatever.
So when you woke up, like, was this kind of like how you picture in a movie, like someone coming out of like sedation or a coma, that it's like, we didn't know when you were going to wake up, or were they or were they surprised?
I think they know just because they start to dial back on the anesthesia.
Oh, so they're kind of inducing the coma.
Yeah,
it wasn't just from the head injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess they had an idea, and they kind of knew like, oh, he should be probably waking up anytime soon.
I got you. Okay, good.
So once I woke up, it was kind of exactly like a movie. I opened my eyes and I did the whole check, and I was like, oh wow, I've been out for a while. I see my sister, my mom, and they stand up and they're like, oh, he's awake. And the nurse was like, yeah, he's awake. Time to feed him. Give him, like, whatever, and his painkillers. And the story's going to go on forever because me telling every single detail is going to be like...
Yeah, do what you feel you're interested in sharing.
So, yeah, I wake up, and then I guess I see my parents, or my mom and my sister, and then they kind of, like, go through everything. At the time, my girlfriend, or now fiance, she couldn't be in because it's immediate family only because the whole COVID thing.
Oh, right.
So, like, immediate family only. But I remember waking up, and then my sister was kind of, like, looking and checking, make sure I'm, like, eyes are still, like, not crossed. And then right away I'm like, oh, hey, like, I'm trying to, like, communicate, but I have all these tubes in my mouth. And for me, when I was 19, I had surgery done on my chest. So I have this, it's like a birth defect called pectus excavatum, pigeon chest.
Sure.
And so what they do is they put a metal bar, it's like braces for your teeth, but for your ribs, and it pushes and it kind of lines things up.
Right.
And so for me, I'm used to being intubated because I remember that feeling of how they had intubate me. And so as soon as I start to move my hands, Marianne was like, oh, no, don't touch that. And for me, I'm like, I got to see what it is because I'm curious. And then she grabs my hand and ties it to the thing, to the bed, and I'm starting trying to fight it. And then my sister's like, he doesn't like being tied down, so, you might want to free his arm because it makes him more irritated. And then she was like, well, we'll free your hand if you don't touch the tube. And I was kind of giving her hand signals. I'm like, I got to touch to see what it is like.
At least to quench your curiosity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you didn't pull it out, though?
No.
Okay.
There's a guy on the bed to my right, pulled it out, and he suffocated.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Oh, fuzz.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
she was very. That's why. Someone just died, so she was like, "There's no way this guy's gonna touch that because if he dies too, we're in a lot of shit."
Yeah, of course. Okay,
so
I'm starting to feel bad for Marianne here.
And so she holds my hand, and I slowly guide it to the tube, and she's like, "Don't pull it." I'm like, I gave her like I won't. And so she's like holding my hand, and I'm like touching my face, touching it. I'm like, oh crap, I'm intubated.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, thank God.
Happy now.
Yeah. So yeah, I spent like a couple days there, and then so this is the spiritual thing. When I start to I guess like wake up, my sister's like, did you have any crazy dreams? And this was like a few days later once they took the tubes and everything out because I couldn't really talk or say anything. For the most part, I was just like texting on the phone and like just showing my sister, and she's kind of reading it back and forth. And then once they took the tubes out, my sister was like, my mom asked me, did you have any like weird dreams? And then I was like, oh yeah, I have a few. So the first dream, it was, I knew it was a dream because like in the dream I was like 12. And then I had a dream with my grandpa. So in Vietnam, so it's my background, I'm Vietnamese. So when we go to Vietnam, I was like the favorite grandchild. So no matter where we went, we always had someone driving us. We sit on the back of the motorcycle. My grandpa's like, no matter what we do, he's always sitting with me. So like when he goes for breakfast in the morning, I'm sitting with him. When he goes for lunch, I'm sitting with him. When we go for rides in the evening, I'm sitting with him. And it's like it's always a pattern. It's like he always sits with grandpa. So in my dream, I was 12, and then my grandpa was going to the market to get something for lunch. And I was like, hey, can I come? And then he was like, oh, no, not today. And I was like, that's weird. Grandpa always lets me come. And so I keep asking him. I'm like, well, I just want to go because I'm bored at home. And then he was like arguing with me. He's like, no, stay at home. I'm going to be quick. No point. Just stay with your parents. My grandpa passed away when I was 19. And so for me, I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, he always lets me go with him. And then eventually, I guess it was like the sign of like, I can't follow him because if I followed him, I would have passed on.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, man, what a cliche dream.
Yeah, you can't come with me this time. Yeah.
He's like, stay with your parents. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then the second dream I had, and this is the story that I tell everyone that gives them the chills, because I tell my mom, and I'm like, yeah, I had a dream that I was in the hospital. I woke up. There was no tubes, nothing. I just got out. I'm like, man, I fucking stink. I'm going to go sign out, go home, shower, get some clothes, come back to the hospital. And so my house with my parents is like a 3-story house. So the basement and the garage are connected on the first floor. Second floor is the living room and then the kitchen. And then the top floor is all the bedrooms. And so I remember getting in, I opened the garage, and then all my doors, they have a lot of chimes because like people come in and out of the house, and my mom wants to know like who's coming in, so she puts chimes there so she's aware, because she's a stay-at-home mom. And so I opened the garage door to get in the house, and then the chimes go off, and I'm like, hello, Mom, Dad, anyone home? And no one was home, and like everything was like completely clean. Like the couches, like there was like no pillows, no nothing on it. There's no clutter on the tables. Usually like there's a magazine or controllers. Everything was clean. I was like, oh, that's weird. They cleaned up the house. I walked upstairs. I'm like, okay, look into the living room. Like, Mom, Dad, nothing. Go upstairs, knock on their door. Hello, guys, nothing. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna shower and then pack a bag and go back to the hospital. And then my mom was like, oh, you gotta tell your dad that story. And she was like shocked. So the night of the accident, I flatlined. I passed away, and I had to get resuscitated.
While you're on the operating table?
Yeah. And it happened a few times. I passed out and I flatlined 3 times before they stabilized my vitals. So the night of, I guess like my parents were just up late because obviously who can sleep after something happens to a child like that. So they're just kind of like, I guess, going through pictures, like looking at my baby pictures and whatever. And then they hear the garage door open, and it's either my brother or my sister. Can't be me. And they're like, okay, yeah, probably one of them home, because my sister, she lives in Oshawa. My brother lives in Vaughan here. And then that house is in Toronto. So they're like, okay, they probably came so they could visit me tomorrow. And so, they're like, okay, whatever. They didn't really think about it much. And then once they heard the chime, they're like, hello, who is it? And then nothing. They're like, okay, that's weird. Hello? And they're calling out my sibling's name. Nothing. So they're on the 3rd floor looking over the railing, seeing like if anything comes down. They're like, nothing. They come down to the 2nd floor. They're like, hello, who is it? And my mom was like, it was like you could hear the footsteps coming up the stairs all the way upstairs into my room. And she was like, yeah, you visited us.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll do it. That right there, my goodness.
He had goosebumps. He was like, holy crap. And see, like for me, like I'm not a religious person, but now I'm like, I strongly believe there's definitely another side.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, once I told my dad, who was like, holy shit, my dad is afraid of ghosts. He was like, holy shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, seemed like your spirit went to visit.
Yeah.
And I guess that was a sign for them too. Like kind of like.
But I guess for them, they were worried because they're like, shit, did he actually pass away?
Yeah. Wow. I guess that was, I mean, I don't know if you know the time frame, but was that kind of coinciding as all of this is happening? Yeah. Wow.
So the night that I flatlined was the night that they had that visit. And so, they were like, oh, crap. They're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I told my godbrother the story, and he's like, you know what's more messed up? If the shower went on. I think my dad would have moved houses that day and just put it up for sell it.
Well, that's pretty impressive. All of it. I mean, I presume that the recovery was somewhat grueling and took time. And
no, it was actually very, very fast. So what I attribute this to is just my physical fitness prior to the accident.
Yeah.
I was into powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like at the time, I thought like if I really like just deteriorate my body and let it recover and then I get stronger from it, it's good for the sport because I'm getting stronger by, I guess, like making everything on my body strong. I don't know if this is correct or not, but I would strongly believe that because I was so used to deteriorating my body, and my body's like, all right, muscle's torn, time to fix it. That my body was so used to like
had that natural like breakdown, rebuild.
Exactly.
You were already in that mode. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I know like whenever I got blood tested, all of the every single time they're like your white blood cell count is really high.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's also because of like the weightlifting and just the
very likely, yeah.
But the very I guess interesting thing that happened during my time in the operating room, they put a bunch of tubes in my lungs, and pretty much I had holes in my lungs from the ribs breaking. So the injuries I had was my left ankle was broken, my right forearm was broken completely. I had 6 ribs broken, so the bottom 2, the top 2, and the sternum was broken. And then my right shoulder blade was broken. Internally, the ribs broke into the lungs.
Gee.
and then the other ribs cut the spleen and then the liver. And pretty much what the dire thing was the lung. They're like, his lungs aren't retaining the air. We'll give him a couple hours, and if he doesn't survive, we're just gonna put him on a machine and tell his parents, like, it is what it is. And they said within like 4 hours, the lung just completely closed up.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, shit, I guess he lives.
Go figure, eh? Yeah, wow. You kind of made it sound like this was all like a flip a coin situation. Like any step of the way, it's like, wow, I mean, maybe we'll try.
Yeah.
You coded 3 times and your lungs were kind of iffy, so.
Yeah. And that was the pretty much the deciding factor. Is like if his lungs close, like he lives. If it doesn't, we put him on a machine and tell his family, like, sorry for.
So the nature of the injury was it just like you got driven over? The tires went. You were right under the tires.
So the in the paramedics, their note says visible tire marks over the chest, and then filled chest from, I guess, the accident.
Compressed. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then no back injury, which I was like I'm surprised, but not at the same time, because I do a lot of heavy lifting, so my back is relatively sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet again, right, that's like one of those luck things. If it had to happen to anyone, it had to happen to me. I had a strong enough back to survive it.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you're strong in every way, like personality-wise too. Like you kind of, I mean, these are sort of, even when people recover, they're never the same. Like, do you feel like your personality is the same? Is there anything that's different now after like your recovery?
Definitely. I look at life a little different now. Before, like a lot of things used to bother me. Yeah, I joke around and whatnot, but like I there's like things just like I'm like, oh, that's so stupid, and I think about all day long. But now I kind of find like, yeah, screw it. Like, try not to let things bother me, because I'm like, life is short. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Especially that I'm like, I was given another chance. I'm like, maybe just don't stress myself by like letting little things bother me. Yeah. That's the biggest change. I find that like I'm more relaxed now, and I don't really let things bother me too much. Some things do, but I'm like, yeah, that's like my old personality. It's hard to get rid of that.
Yeah, that's okay. You're not a different person. You just may see things differently after everything. Like, what did your friends say? Like, or your family? Is like anything that they're like, this story changed us? Anything like that you hear?
Other than the fact that my friends are just like, they're like, if it wasn't you, I don't think any of us would have survived. And they're like, we're happy that, obviously everyone's happy that I'm alive. But they're like, it hasn't really changed their life too much.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things that happened, and in a weird way, like you're prepared in a sense for it, that you could handle it, whereas they wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. This is something, actually, maybe you're right, actually. I didn't think about it, but something I always tell my friends now, I'm like, in Ontario, I don't know if it's all of Canada, but I know in Ontario, it's illegal to lane filter or lane split.
What does that mean?
So when traffic is at a standstill, so the difference is lane splitting is when traffic's moving and you're driving between two vehicles.
Oh, as a cyclist, motorcyclist.
Motorcycles, yeah. And then lane filtering is when traffic is stopped and you're just moving out of the way. It's illegal in Ontario. And for me, like, as a motorcycle instructor, like, if you get caught with doing anything illegal, and you get a ticket, you're fired, because we're not trying to represent.
Yeah, okay.
And so for me, I'm like, when traffic stopped, I thought about it, and a motorcyclist drove by me, and I was like, I should do that. I'm like, I don't want to get fired. I'm just going to stay in traffic. And because I stayed in traffic is why I got hit.
Do you think there was something, like there was an alternative option, aside from like the lane splitting like you're describing? Is there something else that you could have done?
No.
You're stuck.
I was just stuck. It was just like a really shitty situation where there's nothing I could have done other than lane filtering, but I refused to do that because I didn't want to do something illegal.
Yeah.
Now I tell my friends, I'm like, if you're ever in that situation, just move out of the way. If you get a ticket, at least you're not dead.
It's pragmatic. It's like life over job, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
You can't make money if you're dead. So I was like, yeah. Now I tell them, I'm like, guys, if you're ever in a situation like that, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all like kind of, have regulations in whatever practice. And I mean, the regulations are there for like reasons. But then there's maybe an extreme situation. It's like, well, you know, in this case, obviously, you just jump out of the way. It's okay. Risk the ticket. Wow. Okay. Now, in terms of like your physical training, like, are you back to where you were before? Have you like had to change?
So for me, like it was so the recovery part of it. I was recovering very, very well. I made a friend in the recovery, or I guess like the general. I guess they had a general recovery ward, and then they had a rehabilitation center. So every day you had to like walk around like the area, just kind of like get your steps in, and then there's a little room there you do like exercises. And then one of my friends there, her name's Erin. She got in a horrible accident as well. She broke both of her legs and her wrists because she got hit by a drunk driver head on. And then she always tells me, she's like, I remember the first day seeing you. You come into that recovery room, that training room, and they have you balancing like on like it's like a board with like a half ball underneath.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm here learning how to close my knee. And she's like, I was so upset. I was like, this is so unfair. This little young guy comes in and he's already balancing on one leg, and I'm here learning how to close my knee, like my leg.
Go figure, eh? But I mean, she's recovered, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
After like a year after, we're like, hey, if you're out of the hospital and we're okay, let's go for like lunch.
Yeah.
And we went for some lunch, and we're just talking about our stories. It's funny.
So like from the day of the accident to like when you were like, I don't know, did you get back? Well, how long was it before like you were yourself again, back to work, all that?
So let's start with like the training. So for me, like I was very eager to lift again. For me, like the biggest fear I have in life is just being like, let's say, a quadriplegic or not being able.
Sure.
I remember after the accident, I was tapping the floor and I was wiggling my feet. And when I felt the feedback of the floor, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah, I get that.
So that's my biggest fear. So right away, I was like, I kept asking the doctor, like, can I lift? And he was like, give it some time. And he kept telling me that. I'm like, like how much time do I need? And so once he gave me the green light, it was like about 2 months in. He's like, you're allowed to lift, but do it moderately, do it very lightweight, don't lift heavy. And for me, it kind of worked in my favor because in my sport, instead of lifting heavy, I was just practicing form.
Yeah.
And because I kept practicing.
The powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like the squat, bench, and deadlift. I was just practicing form. And because I was practicing form with light weights, my form was very good. Even now, even Andrew said it himself. He was like, when I watch you lift, he's like, it's very heavy, but your form is so impeccable.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was because I had all that time to just lift light and just practice form.
Yeah, it forced you to like just do the fundamentals because you couldn't do the weight. So okay.
And because of that, once the doctor was like, okay, you're okay to lift heavy. They did the X-rays. They looked at the bones. I don't know if you want to add it into the podcast. I can send you the pictures of like the arm and the ankle.
I would love to include if you're okay with that.
Yeah. But he was like, okay, like everything looks okay. You're okay to start lifting heavy. He was like, moderately do it. Don't go crazy. Because I guess once I kept messaging him, he understand how like dedicated I wanted to be.
Yeah, and the fact that you were asking for, I'm sure other people, the opposite issue is like they're telling people you need to train, you need to get out there, and they're like, I'm kind of not ready. Or you had the opposite.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, when we were in that rehabilitation center, I sprained my ankle because I was so eager to learn how to walk again. I was pushing myself to the point where like my ankle was a balloon, and then the nurse saw it. She was like, "We told you to go for like a 2-minute walk. You were gone for 30 minutes. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And so funny enough, when they are in the general, when you're in rehabilitation, they gave you painkillers so you could push yourself without hurting yourself.
Yeah.
In my case, they had to take it away because I was pushing myself way too far.
Taking advantage of us.
And she was like, yeah, we're going to not give you painkillers so that the pain is an indicator for you to stop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of like coming full circle to like the idea of like you're already a high achiever. You're already kind of training your body. And sometimes people do it just for vanity or just for like clout or just to reach a number. Some people do it because they like, genuinely want to, train their body for strength and they see the potential. I mean, in your case, this not only like probably saved your life, but also like allowed you to kind of get back to, almost like exactly where you were pre-accident.
Yeah. So now like I'm a lot stronger than I was before. So I kind of like attribute to like the whole like proper technique and form, and then now I'm like, okay, now I just know how to just take it easy and then eventually get stronger.
Sure.
And then so the work side of things, my old manager in the place I used to work prior to the accident, he left the company, worked for a different company. So about 2 months after my accident, he calls me up and he's like, hey, do you still work at so-and-so? I'm like, yes and no. I'm kind of in a situation. I explained to him the situation. He was like, hey, would you rather jump ship and work for me here? And I thought about it. I'm like, I want to work for a better company, because I thought about like the old place I worked for. And I was like, it's a very stressful place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the company he works for now, which I now work at, I remember hearing about it when I first started in my field of engineering.
Sure.
So I was like, I've always wanted to work for that company, because I heard like the management is great. I guess the company culture there is really good. And I was like, okay, sure, but I'm in this situation. Can you guys accommodate? And he was like, don't worry. Like if you need work half days until like you're a little better, he's like, that's fine. If you need like special chair desks, so they do. We're into architectural stuff, but because of architectural, they design a lot of offices. So like there's chairs, tables. He's like, anything you need, you're probably already make it. So
they're loaded up. Right?
Just ask. I'm like,
very good.
Sweet. So pretty much I get a job there. And then even my parents are like, are you sure? It's like only been 3 months.
Yeah.
And something I told my parents, I'm like, yeah, I may get $1 million from the settlement, but it doesn't cover me until I'm like 100 years old. I'd rather build a career. And so they were like, but it's like, what if you don't recover properly and this, that? I told them like, I'm already lifting pretty heavy. The doctor usually says 2 years before you start lifting heavy. I've already been 2 months and I'm like already lifting relatively heavy again.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, I think I'll be okay. My parents are like, oh God, this guy's an idiot. But
but there's worse things that you could be wanting and pushing yourself for. So I guess that was okay. So it's worked out.
Yeah.
Good.
And it worked out really well. And same thing, my lawyer, what he said, he was like, this isn't like your, retirement ticket, right? You win the settlement and like you retire. No, he's like, no, you still got to build a career.
Yeah.
Because let's say if you win $1 million, you don't have a career, you don't have anything to do, you're going to spend that $1 million within like the next 5 years.
How many horror stories you hear people winning the lottery
Yes.
when they're destitute afterwards? No, I mean, you have a good head on your shoulder for sure.
Yeah. So 3 months after, I was already in an office.
New position, better situation.
Yeah, a lot better.
Lifting heavy.
Yeah. And yeah, even then, I was like lifting heavy. My biggest fear was my arms separating.
Oh.
Because like for deadlifts, of course, like you're lifting the weight off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And like every single time I lift, I'm just praying to God it doesn't separate. And I was like, oh God, I kept asking the doctor, I'm like, will my arm separate? And he's like, if you feel pain and you're lifting, you probably shouldn't be lifting that heavy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't.
Well, you're lifting heavy regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for him, he was like, 50 pounds is very heavy, but I'm like, that's not even a warm up for me. I usually just skip and go up to like 130. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to lift just 50 pounds. And he was like, no, you got to do this and that. And I had to explain to him, like, I'm not like the average Joe. I've done a lot of training. So like, is there any way that you can like kind of give me the green to like lift a little heavier?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, let's just stay with the safety stuff. So I had to do it behind his back. I'm like, I was just itching. I'm like, I know I'm capable. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
This is pretty amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's even more that, like you had mentioned, I don't know if we were already recording, but it's like as people talk and ask you questions, more and more of the story, you start like, oh yeah, by the way, the footsteps thing, that I don't think I've had goosebumps ever talking to someone when we're recording. I actually have evidence now. That was really amazing.
Yeah.
Any parting shots?
The whole belief thing. Even in our sport, funny enough, I trained my fiance for powerlifting. In her first meet, she actually made it to provincials.
Wow.
I didn't, and like something I always tell her, I'm like, the first step of failure is not believing in yourself, because let's say when things start heavy, and you start to, I guess like doubt yourself, you're gonna give up when it's heavy. So like something I have to like really, what I would like to preach is like, just kind of have some belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And then same thing goes with me. Like I didn't believe I was gonna die. I flatlined 3 times, but I think because I thought I had to go to work on Monday, I strongly believe that the reason why I survived was just like my belief that like I'm fine.
Yeah. And you had mentioned like you had an interest in like the all the safety stuff, what to do, like emergency situations. So you're already going in educated, calm, strong, practical, sense of humor. Like, I mean, these like you should like this would be a book on like what you did, and then like, hey, you know what? If you're in like emergency med, if you're doing like training or like motorcycle education, all this stuff, like you just wrote the textbook because you went through it.
Yeah, there's so much to learn and know. But those were like the I guess 4 biggest things that I learned to check for.
Yeah,
is your consciousness, breathing, and then internal bleeding, external bleeding.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
this is really cool.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have you and with Andrew.
Yes.
And we'll try to get a word in.
He owes us pizza.
Pizza at the very least. All right, Eggertson. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem.